Imagine, in a galaxy far, far away, where Anakin Skywalker's journey began not as a young boy on Tatooine, but as an infant, discovered and raised by the Jedi Order. Picture this alternate reality where Anakin's life takes a completely different turn from the moment he was taken in as a Jedi apprentice. Welcome to Star Wars Deconstructed, students of the Force and acolytes of the galaxy. Whether you're a Jedi, Sith, or somewhere in between, join us today as we explore the alternate scenario where Anakin Skywalker was trained from birth. In this scenario, Anakin would have grown up with the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, surrounded by Jedi Masters, Knights, and fellow Padawans. His earliest memories would be of meditation sessions, lightsaber training, and the Jedi Code rather than the harsh desert landscape of Tatooine. Anakin Skywalker's life would have followed a more typical Jedi trajectory if he had been discovered and trained as an infant. Unlike the urgency and concern that surrounded his late discovery in The Phantom Menace, he would have been yet another youngling at the Jedi Temple. Around the age of 10, he would have been selected as a Padawan by a Jedi Knight or Master. Given his extraordinary sensitivity to the Force, it's quite likely that esteemed Jedi like Mace Windu or Yoda would have taken a particular interest in him. Anakin's innate talents would have warranted the attention of these experienced Jedi, who might have seen the potential for greatness within him. Anakin's childhood wouldn't be tainted by the memory of being a slave. He wouldn't have had to endure the oppressive rule of Watto or witness the suffering of his fellow slaves. Instead, he would have been nurtured by the Jedi's teachings of compassion, self-discipline, and the importance of using one's power for the greater good. Gone would be the bittersweet moments he shared with his mother, Shmi Skywalker, as he'd never have been separated from her. Anakin wouldn't carry the emotional scars of their forced separation, and she wouldn't have suffered the anguish of losing her son. In this alternate timeline, Shmi would have seen her son grow up under the guidance of the Jedi, achieving greatness in the Force. And yes, Anakin wouldn't hate sand. He wouldn't have the bitter memories of its gritty, coarse texture that he associated with his early life on Tatooine. Instead, he would appreciate the diversity of the galaxy's planets, each with its own unique beauty. Without the burden of traumatic memories from Tatooine, Anakin's emotional stability would have improved. He wouldn't carry the deep-seated fears and attachments that plagued him in the original timeline. By the time Anakin is assigned to protect Padme in the Attack of the Clones, he would be a full-fledged Jedi Knight, likely with a string of successful missions and a reputation for his exceptional skills. This mission to protect Padme might indeed be a solo assignment, reflecting his capabilities. When the assassination attempts on Padme occur, Anakin's response would be swift and precise. His finely tuned Force abilities would allow him to sense danger before it happens, making it difficult for any threat to catch him off guard. The creatures sent to harm Padme would meet their end swiftly, thanks to Anakin's formidable combat skills. As for the droid responsible for releasing those creatures, Anakin's technical prowess would come into play. He'd use the Force to draw the droid to him, dismantling it with ease. His knowledge of mechanics and technology, honed through years of training, would allow him to quickly decipher the droid's origins. This would potentially set off a different chain of events, as Anakin could uncover the plot to assassinate Padme much earlier in the story. His investigation would lead him to the heart of the conspiracy, unveiling the dark forces at work behind the scenes. With Anakin's exceptional abilities, resourcefulness, and the lack of emotional entanglements he had in the original timeline, the course of Attack of the Clones and subsequent events in the Star Wars saga would take a different and perhaps less turbulent path. The galaxy would witness a Jedi Knight who embodies the epitome of Jedi training and discipline, shaping a unique and intriguing narrative in the Star Wars universe. Meanwhile, Anakin and Padme would be sent to Naboo. Anakin's focus would primarily be on protecting Padme and carrying out his mission. Without the emotional experiences that led to his attachment to Padme in the original timeline, he would indeed recognize both her and Naboo's beauty, but would likely maintain his emotional composure. In this scenario, love wouldn't be a driving force in Anakin's actions. He would approach his duties with a strict adherence to the Jedi Code, treating Padme as a person to be protected rather than someone he develops romantic feelings for. The absence of a romantic relationship would alter the dynamics between Anakin and Padme, making their interactions more professional and duty-bound. As a result, the events of Attack of the Clones might unfold with a greater focus on the political intrigue and the larger plot of the Clone Wars rather than the blossoming romance between Anakin and Padme. Anakin's character arc would continue to be shaped by his unwavering dedication to the Jedi Order, and the galaxy would witness a different facet of the Star Wars saga, where love takes a backseat to duty and discipline. Since Anakin wouldn't have known Padme from when he was 9, there wouldn't be the emotional baggage or memories associated with Tatooine and his mother's death. These painful experiences wouldn't have haunted him, and the absence of visions related to his mother could indeed be attributed to Palpatine's manipulations, given the Sith Lord's penchant for deceit. With the Jedi Council ordering Anakin and Padme to stay on Naboo, they would have a prolonged period of time together. Anakin's disciplined upbringing and emotional control would likely make him an ideal protector for Padme, and their interactions would be marked by professionalism and mutual respect. As they spent more time together, it wouldn't be surprising if a natural attraction developed between them, even from Padme's side. Anakin's dedication to his duty and his abilities as a Jedi Knight would undoubtedly earn her admiration and trust. The bond between them might grow stronger, but it will still be rooted in their shared mission and mutual respect rather than impulsive romantic feelings. As a result, Geonosis and the subsequent events of the Clone Wars would unfold quite differently. Anakin's disciplined upbringing and unique training would indeed make him a stronger, wiser, and more formidable Jedi Knight. Ahsoka Tano Snips would still become Anakin's Padawan during the Clone Wars, but the relationship would be influenced by Anakin's different character development and the absence of his romantic entanglement with Padme. This would shape Ahsoka's training and her interactions with her master in distinct ways. His relationship with Chancellor Palpatine, who would later become Emperor Palpatine, would also be different. Without the prolonged exposure and manipulation that occurred in the original timeline, Anakin wouldn't be as susceptible to Palpatine's dark influence. He would have been taught to recognize the signs of the dark side and would be better equipped to resist its seductive pull. Training under the guidance of Windu or Yoda, Anakin's path would have been shaped by their wisdom and teachings. He would have learned not only the ways of the Force, but also the Jedi Code and the art of lightsaber combat. Under their watchful eyes, Anakin's emotional development and his ability to control his impulses would have been nurtured from an early stage. Anakin Skywalker might still become a Jedi of great renown. He would be celebrated for his exceptional skills, his dedication to the Jedi Code, and his ability to maintain emotional equilibrium. The prophecy of the Chosen One might not have carried the same weight, but Anakin's actions would have continued to influence the fate of the galaxy. Moreover, Anakin's quick learning would have made his training progress at an astonishing pace. He would have absorbed the teachings of the Jedi with remarkable ease. Under the tutelage of esteemed Jedi mentors like Windu or Yoda, Anakin would have flourished and reached milestones far ahead of his peers. Anakin's master, Mace Windu, would provide him with a different perspective and style of training compared to his relationship with Obi-Wan on the original timeline. The absence of a close bond between Anakin and Obi-Wan would indeed create a distinct dynamic in his character development. Anakin's mastery of Vaapad, taught by Mace Windu, and his exceptional combat skills would indeed set the stage for a different confrontation with Count Dooku. In this scenario, Anakin might very well defeat Dooku in combat, either arresting him or incapacitating him to allow the Jedi Council to decide his fate. However, the political landscape and Palpatine's machinations would remain complex. Palpatine's interest in Anakin's power and potential would be even more pronounced in this scenario. If Anakin were to arrest Dooku, Palpatine might view Anakin as a threat to his own plans and attempt to manipulate the situation to his advantage. Ultimately, if the Senate demanded a trial for Dooku and the truth of his Sith identity came to light, the consequences for Anakin would be severe. Palpatine's influence over the Senate and his desire to maintain control would lead to a dangerous game of political intrigue. The fate of Anakin Skywalker in the scenario could indeed be execution, as Palpatine would be ruthless in eliminating any potential threats to his power. Anakin's story would be one of tragic irony, where his strength and dedication as a Jedi ultimately led to his downfall at the hands of the very Sith Lord he helped expose. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and watch the next one.